Hi, I'm Mike from 1A Auto. We've been selling auto parts for over 30 years.
With the vehicle on the ground, you use a breaker bar and a 22mm socket to loosen the lug nuts. Raise and support your vehicle with the jack and jack stands. We're using our 2-post lift. Use the socket, finish removing the lug nuts. All right, seats to the hub. Take a couple lug nuts, just thread them on lightly. Use a dead blow or a rubber mallet. Hit on the tire, it'll knock it free. Lug nuts will keep the wheel from falling off. Now it's loose, so you finish taking the lug nuts off. Just gonna support it so it doesn't fall. Top of the sway bar link bolts through the strut. I'm going to use a wire brush and just clean the threads off so that when I remove the nut that's holding it, it'll spin easier. Just knock off some of the dust, knock off some of the dirt, rust, and then I can spray some rust penetrant on here too. This nut is 18mm. I'm going to use an 8mm socket on this breaker bar to counterhold the end of the sway bar link so it doesn't spin while I'm trying to remove it. Just kind of make sure it gets on here. It's a little rusty. Push it on. Brace that against the knuckle and remove this nut. Go this way with it. Spray some more rust penetrant on here. Help get rid of some of the rusty, chunky bits that are coming off. The nut is self-locking. It's not perfectly round on the end, that's what locks it. So it's going to be hard to turn, but it should turn. And just keep doing this until you thread it all the way off. If you're replacing the strut, make sure you have a new sway bar link on hand because sometimes they break and they'll need to be replaced. As it gets towards the end and the locking part is coming off the threads, it should get looser and easier to turn. Let's see, take this off now. Just gonna spin it off with my fingers. Let's see, it's stopping on that socket that got stuck. Just give it a couple turns. Socket's loose. And now it should come off with my fingers. You do the same for the inside one. You do the same for the lower one. It's just facing away and towards the inside. So you really can't see it directly. You can kind of see it from the side. I'm just cleaning up the threads. Spray it with some rust penetrant and the breaker bar with the 8mm socket. Now it's loose. Just throw it off my hand and pull it out of the sway bar and out of the wheel well. This is the original sway bar link from our vehicle. Brand new one from 1AAuto.com. These are left and right. They are identical. They can be installed on either side. The new one from 1A Auto has a new nut And instead of counter holding the end to tighten it, you're going to counter hold here. These will install perfectly and work great for you. I'm going to remove the nut and install it in the same way the original was. So this one was facing in, the joint was on the outside part. Go through the sway bar, thread the nut on for now, tighten them afterwards. It'll get to the locking part of it. It's not perfectly round, that's how it locks. And you'll feel it get tight. You can just stop. Take this top one off. Goes through the back of the strut. Just go underneath the ABS wire. You might have to bend them a little bit, which they do flex. Just install the nut. And then tighten them down. The back side of this is a 6-point. It looks like it would be a nut. It fits 18 millimeter. You put it on there to counter hold it. And we use an 18 millimeter socket to drive this in. Just tighten this down. This will be the same for both of these, for both the top and the bottom. I'll just get it tight and I'll come back and torque it. And I'm going to do the same for the other side. And install the lower one. There's not a lot of clearance here. I'm going to counter hold it with the long 18 millimeter on that hex drive that's on there, and then I'm going to use a short 18 millimeter to tighten it. And just repeat this until it's tight. Torque on the bottom sway bar link end is 57 foot-pounds. Counter hold it. The torque for the top one is 55. There you go. Install the lug nuts by hand. Going to use the socket, thread these down, I'll retorque them with the vehicle on the ground. Torque the lug nuts in a cross pattern to 140 foot-pounds.
Thanks for watching. Visit us at oneauto.com for quality auto parts, fast and free shipping, and the best customer service in the industry.